G-L-E. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another live episode with Life with G podcast. I know it's a little different. It's Sunday and it's during the day. Happy Sunday, you guys. But we went international this episode, okay? We have a special guest. We're going to get into it, but you already know who it is. It's your girl G, the Puerto Rican podcast princess, your favorite baby mama in the building. And we have JR per usual.
It's high noon. Hey, what up, everybody? It's Sunday. Bless you. We love you. Make sure everybody knows. Feel special. Feel great. And if nobody told you they love you today, I'm not going to be the first one.
Wow. That was crazy for a Sunday live intro. That's insane. And we do have special guest, Miss Josi. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, so happy to be here from London International. It's evening here, so bear with me if my brain is already in bed because my bedtime normally is like 8 or 9 p.m.
Oh, no. I love it. I love it. What time is it over there in London?
Yeah, it's like 7:07 right now.
7
That's
past
still
7.
fine.
Okay,
No.
yeah, it's still kind of early. It's early, but we really appreciate you joining us all the way from London. I think it's great to connect with people from all over the world. When I think we first started messaging, I didn't even realize the time difference, but we made it happen for y'all. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. I see some people viewing already. Don't forget to tap into the live chat. If you are new to Life with G podcast, be sure to join the family. If you haven't already, what the fuck are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I'm feeling good. It's Sunday. Let's go ahead and switch to that 3-man camera, JR. Yeah, let's get into it. JR, you look like you're still waking up. Do you need some coffee?
No, of course not. I have my apple cider and celery juice mixed with some blueberries.
Where are the blueberries?
I think that's liquor. I think
Okay, it's a beer. Okay.
Okay. All right. There we go. And that's okay. That's okay. We need to relax on a Sunday. Oh my goodness. I'm feeling good. Hopefully y'all who are watching from home are feeling good as well. And if you're tuning in from London for Miss Josi, welcome, welcome. This is Life with G podcast. We're going to get into self-love and speaking up for ourselves. Josi, before we get into that, I kind of want you to give our viewers a little bit of your background, what it is that you do, and what got you started into that field.
Yeah, what a big question, actually. I mean, I am a mindset and leadership coach, slightly transitioning into potentially calling myself more of a performance coach because I want to focus more on sustainable productivity, habits, and those kind of things. And they also feed into leadership. But for now, it's mindset and leadership coach. I've been doing that for over 3 years now. Before that, I was working in finance at a corporate company, burnt out, and some other things happened that then led me to a completely different path and choose what I was really passionate about. That was all things mindset. So I turned that into my business and I have been coaching ever since, mainly with women actually on topics of self-doubt, imposter syndrome a lot, standing up for yourself, self-love, all those kind of things fall into that. But mainly it's really turning that self-doubt into self-trust.
I love that. And do you care to kind of get into some of your story that led you into even going into that lane? I know when we initially talked, you mentioned some personal experiences that kind of motivated you to start that line of work.
Yeah, so I was always passionate about mindset in general, but it was more like a hobby, more like a side thing that I was doing. So I was working in finance, was working my way up the career ladder. I thought I had like everything sorted. I had my fiance, I was living in the UK, so I moved over from Germany, was living basically my dream country, and I had the dream job as well that I thought, yeah, I'm gonna be like a CFO or like the finance manager maybe from an affiliate one day, blah de blah. Then 2020 happened, obviously with COVID, but also 2021 was then the year where just everything just crumbled. So
Yeah.
It really
yeah,
did.
that year it was just a hell. Like literally, I burnt out because of a project I was leading. It was a great opportunity, so I was learning a lot, but at the same time, I was working my ass off
Right.
and was working too many hours. And I had like a really unhealthy relationship with work and putting things out there in general. So sometimes I would get up at like 3 a.m. because at the same time I was studying as well for my degree, which I then stopped, but that's a different story.
Mhm.
So I was already completely overworked, and then I burnt out at the same time because the relationship I was in, even though you might think from the outside looking in, oh yeah, she's got everything, like she's together with her like um teenage love, whatever. Like we got together when I was like 16 or something. And
Okay.
been together for 12 years, but it's been a very toxic relationship. I put my hand up, like definitely from both sides, not just his side, but
Mhm.
also obviously from my side. So
Mm.
it just didn't work out. And even though we were engaged and we did get married, it was actually the wedding day when I was like, "Oh, should I really do this?" But
Mhm.
I couldn't say no in that moment. So I had like an inside panic attack, and that was just like, fuck, what is happening? I can't go
Right.
on with this, but I still heard myself say yes, even though I didn't want to. So
Mm.
3 weeks after, like in those 3 weeks after the wedding, I was just like depressed like hell. I was like, okay, cool, this is my life now. Like I don't like it.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
was
you
very,
just
very unhappy. And
I
then I was just
gotcha.
like, I gotta make a change. And it was actually my ex-husband who was then asking, like, Josie, what's up? Like, you're so angry and so depressed. And I was like, yeah, I don't think we should be together. And that's
Mm.
basically when we broke up. Like, obviously, you just got married, so there's still like paperwork you have to do. It's not just like you can
Mhm.
do a clean cut. So it still took a little bit of time to get rid of everything. It maybe sounds weird, but it was like
Mhm.
getting rid of everything. But we started
Yeah.
the annulment process, and yeah, annulment basically means it's being deleted, and that's what I wanted.
You
Yeah.
deleted your
It's
marriage.
out of the books. I deleted it. Yes, it's
She
not part of
said
history.
bye.
I was like, bye.
Damn.
That is
JR, do
different.
you have any questions
I do.
on that
I
end?
want to
Go ahead. I
know.
see your wheels turning.
Just I want to know what is toxic, you know. And I don't need the exact example of like the situation that you had, but what do you define as like a toxic situation?
What I define as toxic is when you're constantly being put down, constantly being judged, constantly at fault for things you did, things you didn't do, for choices you made for yourself. Like one example I can give is because I was very much focused on my work, I was very much focused on my career, but it was
Mm.
always held against me. So there wasn't a support in what I was wanting to reach in my life or for my goals. It was always like, oh, you work too much, like you don't care, like why don't you spend like more time with me and like those kind of things. But also other
Mhm.
like more like very subtle things in the day-to-day life where you're being called mean names. Like I will not say them now, but you're being called all of those names every
Yeah.
single day, and it's just not a healthy environment. So toxic for me means literally toxic. You cannot thrive. You're literally being intoxicated with poison almost. It just
Mm.
has you rot, but on the inside.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, I agree. That's what I, man, it's so difficult though because I hear what you're saying, and from like a male perspective, we do want our woman to progress and have what she wants, you know. But I don't think we want it to interfere with our needs as a man to even consider you our woman in the first place. If that makes any sense, you know. Um, I just think that would be that's a difficult situation in both parties though, because if he's really wanting that much attention and you are so focused and you were more like we're two beings living in our you know what I'm saying, in our comfort to be able to grow and progress, and he's really like I need that attention from you, I need that motivation from you. I think it's just difficult when you're looking at it from that point of view on both sides, because he probably doesn't think he's wrong and you're not wrong in what you were doing. So that's a tough one.
Mhm.
That's tough.
It is
And
a tough one. Yeah.
and something that you mentioned that I don't think we talked about before in our consult was that you did start dating him very young. I know, like, in my personal situation, I can definitely relate to what you're saying. My marriage was like that, and we got together in college. So I think when
Mm.
you grow up with someone and then you get out in the real world, it's new for both of you. And they're having to see you transition from, I have all this extra time to devote to my partner, to now I'm also, going after my career and my individual growth. And that can be very scary in a relationship, at least in my experience, for the man to see his woman start to pour into other things. So yeah, I can see how that would be difficult. JR, what do you say about that? Do you feel like men might have an unrealistic expectation of women not pursuing their own individuality when they're in a relationship?
No, no, I think it's normal. Joseph, and I want your thought on this though, right? I truly believe that men like protection, provision, and security, and
Mhm.
the fact that that's them in their most masculine form. And when you're in hindsight pretty much taking away the provision part, which is you can do your own thing, right? That would take a piece of the man away. And I just want your thought process on like how do you think that should be communicated well between like the two parties technically? Like
Mm. Well, it definitely needs to be communicated. I mean, I'm seeing this comment here, like, sounds like there was
Mhm.
not a balance of communications understanding at all, right?
Mhm.
Um, which is definitely a thing because, like, even though I said, like, this is really important to me, this matters to me, there was on the one side not really an understanding for why it really mattered. But
Mhm.
then there was also a lack of communication in terms of like what he truly needed. He was always just like, oh, I need more time. Like, we need to spend more time. We need to do these kind of things. But I just couldn't devote that time. So it is a lack of communication, but also priorities in that sense. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm putting my own hand up because there's always both sides that belongs that like feed into the narrative of
Yeah.
the relationship, right? Um, and what I have to say though, now being in a very healthy relationship that is not toxic at all, I don't think it's not necessarily as crucial, and maybe I'm expressing that wrong, but for men to need truly this aspect of I need to provide for my woman or need to be able to pay for it all. Because
Mhm.
if you truly see each other as equals and you just support another in what you're doing and you're still there for another, you make each other priority, it's fine. Like, I don't have that in my relationship right now where I'm
Mhm.
like, I feel like he wants to take care of me more than I would like to take care of him. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, it's very much teamwork. We see it as
Mhm.
we do this together, we grow and thrive together, we do our own thing together. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah, I disagree, but
absolutely.
I understand.
I,
That's
What?
well, we
fine.
We will get
That's
into why
totally
you
fine.
disagree in just a moment. I do want to type into the comments. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Again, if you're new to Life with You podcast, please join us in the live chat. We also have a call in feature, and that is listed in the description as well. How to human properly. Welcome in. He said, hello, hello, hello. TR Sage, what's up? He said, A. How to Human properly said, if toxic is such a thing, can someone be toxic to themselves? We will get into that in just a moment. TR Sage, she did mention your comment. Sounds like there was not a balance of communication or understanding at all. How to Human properly said, I agree. Sage said, for me, if a woman makes more money than me, it would not make me feel insecure. As long as she sees me as the head, no matter what, that's what matters. That's a fair point. Wendy Darlene said, I think JR's definition of masculinity is obscured by ego. How fragile it must be if a woman's successful career or ambition can diminish it. That's true. Panda, what's up, mama? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, those are good comments, you guys. Keep them up. I do want to address Josie, just your opinion on how to human properly's question. If toxic is such a thing, can someone be toxic to themselves? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, absolutely. Like, we are the biggest poison to ourselves. We are our
Absolutely,
own biggest
yeah.
enemy. I mean, you know that saying, right? I call it self-sabotage in my coaching, in my work with my
Mm,
clients. in the work I have done, there's a lot of self-sabotaging that goes into it, where you're literally standing in your own way. That is being toxic to yourself, or where you put
Mhm.
yourself down. There are different ways of doing it. It might be you're like your worst critic, where you really are judgmental towards yourself. It could be through procrastination, through overworking, overdoing it. It can be through different ways, but all of those are rather toxic behaviors. So the thing is with those behaviors is that they come from a place of wanting to keep us safe. So they want
Mhm.
basically to prevent change and like avoid uncertainty. They want to keep you right where you are right now to survive and thrive and be fine and happy.
Mhm.
But that's obviously where we don't see any growth or like expansion in ourselves, or where we can grow into what is really like not obvious, uh, possible. That's the word,
Yeah.
possible,
Yes.
into what we could grow. So we're almost like poisoning or intoxicating ourselves with these behaviors, stopping us from the growth that we have and that or
Mhm.
could have. And also that then diminishes if we go to the topic of self-love. That is like the counterpart to self-love if you
Right.
are in this toxic behavior towards yourself.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people in their journey, male or female, we kind of have this breaking point. If you're like a people pleaser or if you have difficulty speaking up for yourself, there's a moment in time where it kind of just snaps and you're like, okay, either I say something now or this is going to get really, really bad really quick. It sounds like for you, you had that moment on the wedding day. You still struggled to speak up for yourself. Can you kind of take me through the mindset of that? Like you're preparing for such a impactful moment. You've already been with this person for an extended period of time, but this means forever. It almost means you're stuck in a sense. Um, what was like your internal dialogue that day?
Oh, that day, my internal dialogue was all over the place, because I kept on questioning, like, is this the right thing to do? Should I be really doing this?
Mm-hmm.
But, and I've said that in the consult, I was like so good at masking and dissociating that no one else would notice. I was just like the happy wife to be, and everybody was just like celebrating me, like, oh yeah, Josie, we're so happy for you. And inside, I was just like, I'm dying. Like, this doesn't feel
Mm-hmm.
right. I feel
Right.
awful. What's going on? And I still remember when we were literally standing in front of the people where we then had to give our vows. I was just standing there and was like, why is no one saying no? Like, why is no one like standing up and
Mm-hmm.
screaming at me, Josie, don't do this. Like, run for your life. This is not the right guy. Because that was
Right.
what's going on inside my mind. And I was literally like inside having a massive panic attack, but again, no one noticed because I was just like smiling and all happy and like, oh yeah, the world
Mm-hmm.
is fine from like the outside looking in. Um, and then I just literally was thinking like, yeah, why is no one saying no? But then at the same time, I was like, it needs to be me who's saying
Mm-hmm.
no, but I couldn't in the moment because I was so consumed by this fear of, oh, what would other people think? What if I say no
Yeah.
now? Like, what the fuck are we going to do? Like,
Yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
ideal. Like, we're in front of all of these people, in front of a couple of my best friends. Like, they are expecting me to say yes because we worked towards this day, right? And oh, what if it could work? Like all of those questions go on inside your mind. But then I did hear myself say yes, and then afterwards I was just like I felt like I signed my life away, and I was just like
Mhm.
in shock mode almost, but still dissociating, still masking
Right,
for the whole
right.
rest of the day.
Yeah,
So it's a very weird feeling to describe because basically I was shitting my pants, but no one noticed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
And that's a difficult place to be in. JR, if you were to get married, if you were to have a similar experience, or any fellas or ladies in the chat, you go to the wedding day, you get married, and then you see your partner severely depressed almost immediately afterwards. On the other side of that coin, how do you feel like you would feel? How do you think you would handle a situation like that, JR?
Oh yeah, don't I would have said no before. I would have said no before she had a chance to say no. You know what I'm saying? I just can't have a woman that's with me that's not happy. I just can't have
Mm.
that. I really can't. I don't know how other men possibly can. I don't know why men choose it. I don't have a control over people, right? I have a control over my relationship. And if she wants to be in my relationship, then she
Mhm.
has to understand that I'm the one that's in control. But I don't have control over her. If she doesn't want to be in that relationship, then she can go, and I have no problem with that. She's a grown woman, and I would respect her decision. And you know what I'm saying, I'll give my relationship to somebody who wants it instead of somebody who is stuck. So I definitely understand like that kind of pressure that would be on her. Like it's not a nice, like she's hurting, you know. And if I love her,
Mhm.
I don't want her to hurt. You know what I'm saying? Even if we can't be in a relationship, I still don't want her to hurt. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to let her go. I'll probably say no before we even. If she's not crying happiness, can't wait to get on that altar, like she can't wait to tell me yes, she can't wait to spend our life together in front of family and friends, then there's nah, like you gotta bye. You know what I'm saying? We
Mm.
just can't do this. We can't. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe we need to talk more. Maybe you need counseling. You know how I feel about men in counseling. So, but I'm just
Oh
saying.
gosh.
I'm just saying. It'd be kind of
Right.
difficult though. That would I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Josie, I have a follow-up question with that. So you mentioned that he had to come to you and say, "Hey, like, what's going on? I'm not, you don't seem happy, and I feel like you should be." Do you think you masked so well that even he didn't realize it on the day of?
You know what? Part of me thinks he knew
Hmm.
because we had like issues before and we did talk about it before. Like I actually broke up a year before that, but then we were like trying to reconcile it and be like, oh no, it's fine. So I do think part of him knew, but I also do think part of him might have clinged onto this idea of marrying your childhood, like not childhood, but like high school sweetheart or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but because I was like such in a low mood and I was like literally at rock bottom because there was so much going on in that time with work as well. And I was just like, I don't know, I can't even like put it into words. It was like such an out of world experience because you're
Right.
so low. Like you don't really want to do anything. You don't want to talk to anyone. And I was
Hmm.
just miserable. So
Yeah.
obviously I put that onto him and like he was the one closest to get my anger and see all of that. So when he
Hmm.
then was like, Josie, like, why are you like this? Why are you so angry? Why are you so depressed? What's going on? It kind of like also gave me the permission slip to finally let it out because until then I was still like working, trying to find out what's really going on.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm very grateful actually that he did that, that
Yeah.
he said that. I'm like, thank you for allowing me to just say, yes, this is not right because I don't
Right.
want to feel like this for the rest of my life. Um, so yeah, it was a
Yeah.
very, very weird experience, but I'm also very grateful for it.
Yeah, and I think it is an interesting phenomenon that I've noted even for myself. Like sometimes you wanted something so badly or you fight for something so hard, and then when you finally get it, the dream job, the dream relationship, whatever it looks like, and then you are sitting in the reality of that, you're like, "Oh shit, this is not what I thought it was. I take it
Yeah.
back." And it almost sounds like you were kind of like in that mindset as well. I do want to tap into the comments really quickly. Andra, welcome in. She said a partner with balance is imperative no matter what gender. I agree. How to Human properly said at Josie was punishing herself and wanting somebody to save her. I'm glad she got out of it. And then he said, question for Josie, what is a good relationship slash marriage for you? Like, what does that look like for you?
I love that question. And I feel like it's what my relationship now looks like with my new guy that I found on Tinder, which was a very much like big surprise. Um, but it's teamwork. It's like being a really, really good team. Like
Hmm.
I give you an example. If you play Overcooked, like the play the game on Nintendo,
Oh, yes,
where
yes,
you could end
yes.
up fighting like crazy because one might be too silly, running off in the wrong direction, not cutting the cucumber or whatever. But you don't fight and you actually work so well together that you just smash through the levels and get like 3 stars everywhere. It might maybe a silly metaphor, but
I like it.
That is teamwork, because you're in a stressful situation. You can still work
Mm-hmm.
together. You can still communicate clearly. You still work together smoothly to make it to the goal or whatever you want to reach. So a good relationship, a good marriage has this teamwork. It has the communication. It has this like immense trust for another, that no matter what, you're still there for another. You're not
Mm-hmm.
just like ditching the other person because someone, I don't know, cooked cut the cucumber wrong. Like, I'm still using
Yeah.
this as an example, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's, you're not just like throwing everything like away for nothing. You stick it out, you talk through things. So that
Mm-hmm.
is definitely what I feel like makes a good relationship. And I couldn't even imagine before this relationship now how this would be like. So sometimes I still find myself surprised at, oh, hang on, it can actually be this way, especially in the beginning of this new
Mm-hmm.
relationship. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is actually really nice. I can't even imagine like that this is possible, but it
Mm-hmm.
is, if you have like these four pillars of the trust, the communication, and all of those kind of things.
I love that.
Interesting. That is interesting.
JR,
Hmm.
how do human properly ask the question? And I think I misunderstood it. And
Hmm.
now he's trying to rephrase it, and I still don't understand. Can you translate man for me? Can you man translate? How do
Yeah.
human properly
Oh,
is questioned?
he's saying what's the purpose of even being in a relationship or a marriage is what he's kind of trying to say.
Mm,
Not the good part or anything. Just what is the purpose? Like, why do you even want to be in a relationship or even get married? Why would you even want to?
that's a good question.
That is a good question. I mean, in general, you wouldn't need to, because you can be very happy on your own. You also don't need to be in just one relationship. It doesn't need to be this picture perfect, what we consider as normal, right? It can be your way of being happy. So if your way of happiness leads to you not being married or not in a relationship, but still maybe having some human interaction in different formats, fine. Like in
Yeah.
the end, you choose to do what makes you happy. You don't have to follow whatever guidance or like maybe your parents did or your grandparents or what everybody else was doing. You feel like you don't have to do that. Like I'm in general more like do whatever you want, like live and let live. That's kind of like a motto.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
So you don't really
I,
need to be in a relationship. You just want to.
It's a choice, yeah. If you don't want to, then you shouldn't. Why force yourself into a relationship if you don't want to be in one?
Understandable. I get that.
that's very true. That's very true. I know you asked the question to both of us. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think part of the reason why I am still single to this day is because I have like an um I think I attach potential happiness too much to a potential relationship. I think I have somewhere in my brain a mindset of like, if I just find a good man, then life will get easier. But I'm realizing that that's not necessarily
Nope.
true because then you add JR, because then you add in this other person and now you're not just living for you. So that's something that I'm working on, trying to figure out why is it that I am so attached to the idea of wanting a partner versus just being by myself. So yeah, I'm still working through that. We're still growing over here at How to Human Properly. I'm figuring it out. But these talks are good for that. It helps me have more self-awareness and like talk through it. So that's good. I do want to tap into the other comments. Ramses, welcome in. He said too often people confuse being in love with being comfortable. There's a sunken cost fallacy that people fall victim to after dating for a few years. I agree with that. How do human properly said right, JR. Andra said, at Ramses, you are very right. Comfort and complacency are easy to fall into, but it doesn't help make relationships better. I agree. He said, "How do human probably said we learn as we go." I feel you, G. Exactly. I am still learning every single day. So Josie, you experienced this. You went through it. You ended up finding your current partner on Tinder. You said
Yes, on
how
Tinder.
was that going from like a high school sweetheart to getting married to? never mind, I take it back. We're gonna delete the marriage, and then boom, you find love on Tinder of all places. Were you looking for love when you were on Tinder, or was it just to have fun?
No. So,
Hell
okay, this
yeah.
is where it gets a little bit woo-woo. Okay, so
Okay,
bear with me on that one because
I'm with
I've
it.
never been on Tinder before that. I've never
Okay.
ever been on any dating apps before that. So unless you maybe call like those former school forums that you had as
No, we're
maybe
not
some
counting those.
dating things.
Nope, we're not counting those.
Exactly. So it doesn't count, right? But it's a bit old school, but that's what I grew up with. And then there was Tinder. So it was literally me waking up one day and I was like, today I need to go on Tinder. Um, so I did that and I
I love
swiped
it.
left like so much. Like honestly,
Right.
I was like, no, 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 this is
No,
not
no,
good. This is
no,
not good.
no. Damn. Like
And
100 times, right?
Tinder, no, more than that.
More than a
It
hundred
got to the
times.
it got to the point where Tinder was like, we need to increase the radar, or like, or the range where we are looking for men because we're running out of
We ran
men.
out of options. Hell
So I
yeah.
was very, very picky. And I think in total, I swiped right like 5 people out of all of them, out of hundreds, if not more.
It'd be like
So
that.
very, very picky. And out of those 5, like the most of them dropped immediately because I was like, no, I can't be bothered. This is too anxiety inducing for me. I hated it.
Mhm.
But then there was this one guy who seemed super down to earth, and I was like, seems really nice. And we quickly just moved the chat from Tinder to WhatsApp because Tinder was freaking me out. I was just like, this is too stressful. I don't like the vibes on this app. And we were chatting for a couple of weeks, and then we met for the first time and just ended up talking like 6 hours in the same restaurant. We were just sitting there talking and talking about anything and everything, and it was
Mm.
crazy. It was just crazy. And then it just went from there. It actually happened all really.
I love
So
that.
yeah,
I love that. How long, if you don't mind me asking, how long between the deletion of marriage to downloading Tinder? Like what was the time frame before you kind of put yourself out there to see what was on the app?
very short. So the
Mm.
wedding was May 2021. I went on
Mm.
Tinder October 2021.
Hell yeah.
And
I,
so I was still married at that point. And you bet, I was so freaking nervous to tell my now partner back then, like, technically I'm still married. I had like the papers are not through yet. I was
yes.
dying on that dinner when I had to tell him, but he took it like so nicely and he was like, "Ooh, I'm dating a married woman."
That's a lot of people I
Yeah, we
see. And
like
when I
that.
was separated, a lot of men I thought would care. They don't care. They don't care that much.
Why would we?
Okay, so that's interesting. I do think that that kind of speaks to the mentality though as well. I feel like a lot of women mentally check out of the relationship long before we actually say that it's over. And I know we get a lot of shit for moving on quickly, but in reality, we just take longer to leave, and then at that point, we're ready.
Yes,
Jr.,
that is so
what do
true.
you think about that? I know some of the fellas are in the comments reacting to the hundreds of men that got the left swipe versus the 5 that got the right swipe, and I know we talk about it often. Jr., what's your commentary on that side of the coin?
No, it's understandable. Us men, we already know it. We already know women are going to be very picky. We do know that attraction is very important first, and definitely the dating app shows that, though, right? If she was going out there to meet a guy, she probably wouldn't have had to say no to that many guys. She probably would have met a guy that's very similar in a place that she likes to go to, and she could have met a guy that way. But would she have met this guy that way? Possibly not, you know. So the fact that she put herself out there to do that, we get it. Again, men like married women too. That's just what it is. Like, I don't know why
I
y'all
did put
think
in
we
my
don't.
profile though.
If you did, you would have got more. That's all I'm saying. You
That's
would have got
crazy
more.
though, because
Men like it.
then why is that anyway? That's a whole different
Yeah, it's not our
um
responsibility.
thing
If,
piece.
you know what I'm saying, we get all the benefits without actually taking any responsibility. Come on now. That's a dream.
Well, that's to be like what? Like the side piece, not to like come in and date. Because if a man wants to come in and intentionally date a woman, separation is fine. But I'm actively married and I'm still living with him, and that's a whole different story. I feel like.
We probably wouldn't care either way.
If you wanted a relationship with her, you wouldn't care?
If let me tell you something. If she's married, living with them, let's say she's even happy, I don't give a damn about none of that. If she's on a date with me, then she don't belong to him anyway. So I'm not
Oh,
tripping.
oh wow.
That's
Well,
that's just a man's thought process sometimes. Whatever. It's hey, it's my turn. He had his turn, it's my turn now. But
oh wow.
again, she was separated, so that's a whole different
She
thing.
was.
And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing because he already knows, all right, if you're on this date, you don't belong to him anyway, regardless if you're on paper
Mhm.
married, whatever it may be. I can understand that. That's not going to stop what we got going on. And that's still beautiful too.
I like that. And I like that you didn't have to go through the craziness of dating in whatever year that was, or even dating in 2025, because it's crazy. You were able to find someone that was a good option for you. So I wish nothing but the best for that relationship. I'm really happy for you there. And I think when you find someone who compliments you well, it helps you in your own individuality. So I really want to get into that process that you had going from, okay, I was living behind the mask. Now I'm out. The divorce happens. I'm curious before we get too far into the, self love and speaking up. I imagine the conversation that you had to have with your loved ones after deleting the marriage was a difficult one. How did you
Yeah.
facing those people and letting them know, hey, actually, the whole time I was really unhappy? How did they take that?
So, to my surprise, and what I was really grateful for, the ones I care about the most, they took it very well. They were
Hmm.
like, I just want you to be happy. And I was like, thank you. So they basically just understood it and they were like, well, we are there for you anyway. And
Yeah.
Were they
obviously, we then
women?
had, yeah, women, but also, who did I tell it who was not a woman? Some of my former colleagues who were also like, oops, you just do what you want. So that
Hmm.
was fine.
Okay.
But the ones who mattered the most, like my best friends, they were just like, yeah, a-okay. And I just told them via WhatsApp message. It wasn't like necessarily a phone call. It was just like, yeah, we're not together no more. We were going to have an annulment. It's gonna be done and dusted. Most were, of course, like at first, like, oh wow, okay. I
Hmm.
think the one that's taken me aback the most and the worst, in a sense, was from my grandma. So her reaction, obviously being a different generation, it's a different story, I guess, and she just has different standards or whatever. I respect her choices in life, but they're not mine, and I don't have to make the same choices.
Hmm.
So for her, it was like, oh, don't you want to stick with him? Like, don't you want to make it work? Don't you want to talk again? Like, why is this happening? And she even still had like contact with my ex afterwards. Like she was chatting
Hmm.
with him. And I was like, you're chatting more with my ex than I am. What is happening?
Oh,
This is like not okay. So
yeah,
I got angry at her for doing that. I was like, you're my grandma, okay? Like,
yeah.
please sever this relation. He's not part of this family no more.
Mm,
So no contact, please. Like this is weird. And she
mhm,
didn't understand that for a while because she was like, oh, but he was part of our family for so long. And I was like, yeah, but he's not anymore. Like,
mm,
don't do that, please. So I just put up a boundary in that regard. But it was quite a tricky one to navigate just because you couldn't understand. Um, so yeah, after a while she did, and I think she did stop the contact, but it was just like a weird kind of like in between where I was like, why are you
yeah,
doing that? You're my
yeah,
name. Stop talking to my ex. Like this is
yeah.
fucking it.
Hell no, you
Uh,
better keep talking to that man. Keep talking. That
I
man is hurt.
No, that's not. And I don't know what it is, and I really, not to keep saying like I can identify with that, but I really do identify with you, and I understand even more so your thought process because I dealt with the same thing. And it's interesting that even when you do lift the mask off and you're like, hey, I get you weren't aware and that's why you had this relationship with this person, and you have grown to love them and they were a part of the family. But this is really what's been going on, and I'm your blood, I'm your kin. So support me and be in solidarity and leave them alone. And that was very difficult for my family to do, even years down the line. It's like we're we're separated for 5 years and y'all still acting like he's the favorite son-in-law. Like I need some separation. So I think that's very interesting as well. And I don't know how much of it we caused ourselves by putting up that mask for so long. Because then it's hard for them to process the reality of the situation. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no.
difficult.
See, men don't do that. See, men, you're insecure as hell if you're still talking to your ex's family. I'm just gonna be honest. When she's gone, all of them gotta go. Every single one of
Mm,
them. She out of
mm.
there. Mama, daddy, grandmama, uncles, aunties, all of them gotta go. If they hit you up, who this? Oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? You have time to speak? Nah, I can't talk right now. I do. Bam, and then we out of there.
Yeah.
Ain't no way I'm still talking to the fam. Ain't no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd never
Oh,
talked to like his family. I was just like, yeah, they're gone now. They're deleted. I
yeah, yeah,
don't even
yeah.
have their numbers. It was just like all gone. So I was just like, why is he like even engaging in the conversation still? And it was like weird
Mm,
conversations that were like very about like intimate family kind of like things, where I was just like,
yeah.
he should not be involved in those kind of like discussions. Like the fuck.
Right,
No,
So
not
right.
even a little bit.
So when you had these conversations and the majority of your support system is like, hey, I just wanted you to be happy anyways. I'm cool with it. What was your like reaction to that? Did you kind of feel like, oh damn, I didn't have to mask this the entire time? Or was there like that moment of like, what was I doing?
yeah, I literally
Yeah.
sometimes was like, oh, maybe there was no need to try to
Hmm.
mask it, people please, and like fear of judgment of other people or whatever. It was more
Right.
like they would have
Yeah.
understood all along because they just love you for who you are, right? If they're
Mm,
true friends, then they don't ditch you for stuff like that. Like it would be weird anyway to do that. So
yeah.
I was a little bit surprised and at the same time was like, Josie, you could have just left earlier, but we have to go through those lessons, right? So
Yeah.
and it's a-okay.
Yeah. And I think kudos to you for like working through that. And I think, men or women out there, it's important to live in your truth. And the people that are supposed to be in your life, if you are living to be unapologetically you, they will stick around. And those who aren't for you, they will disperse. But we don't want those people anyways. We don't want them in the first place. I do want to tap into the comments really quickly. Let's see here. Y'all are definitely chatting. I love it. How do human properly said, whoa, that's crazy. Keep in contact. Sage said that is insane. Human properly said, right, I ain't have to do nothing. But oh, I think we're talking about another conversation up there. Savage Khan, welcome in. Savage said, y'all sound selfish to me. Oh, Savage. On a Sunday, you gonna come in here with that shit? Come on, what you thinking? Come on, let it out. Tr Sage said, "Always remember, my brother. Though you get him how you lose him." Yeah, because I think he was talking about messing with a married woman. How to human properly said, "I think it's a narcissist move for a man to keep in contact with the ex's fam. It's pretty brilliant." Damn. Andra said, I had to tell my family I divorced him. You stopped letting him come over. You divorced him too, right? Sage said, well, that's good then, LOL. Andra said, it's painful to heal with your ex still around and at family functions. I agree. How to human properly said, LOL. I went on that one. Yeah, you're crazy, how to human properly. You is crazy.
It's
But
playing
yeah, I
chess.
think it definitely affects a healing process if your ex is still around. It's not easy to move on. Okay,
But
so
what about his healing process though? You know what I'm saying? What about his though?
let it go, let it go. Isn't that how the song goes? Let it
Yes.
go.
Oh, so for him is to let it go. See, men, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh my
Make sure, right, that y'all pick the best
God.
one that's suited. Stop giving it out for free, man. Y'all are giving out relationships too
Giving it
easily.
out for free is
They are.
crazy. I think it's
So
different,
self
right?
growth.
For me, if it's a situation like how my marriage was, or in
Hmm.
Josie's case where it is more of a toxic situation, I kind of feel like you've done enough, you've taken enough, and now that I have the strength to leave, allow me to leave in peace. And that's where that comes from. If it was a healthy relationship and it was just, things just happen to not work out, then I could kind of understand maybe keeping some of the same friend circles occasionally or it being a little bit more of a slow burn to separate. But in a toxic situation, when I finally get the fuck on, I'm gonna need you to let me to get the fuck on. That's my opinion.
I agree, and I agree because if you're a man and you're not providing, protecting, and securing your woman, then she's not your woman. If you're not doing all three, she's not your woman. She's just holding that spot until you grow the fuck up. So I agree in that sense, right? If he cannot provide, protect, and secure, hey, it is what it is. You have the strength to leave. But if he is providing, protecting, and securing, men, if you know how to do all three, choose the right one. You have to choose the right one. If you don't know whether or not you know how to do all three, then look at these two women right here because they will show you not there yet. You not. And
What
that's
you mean? What does that mean? What do you
What do
mean by
you
that?
mean?
I
Yeah.
that
don't know
y'all
if that's a
y'all are gonna
compliment or a
walk
diss.
away
What you,
from the
Yeah, I'm
relationship
like, what
because
is
it's
it?
no, it's a compliment in a diss, but it's not a diss to y'all. It's more like these men not really ready, but they assume they ready. They assume I love you, so that's enough. It ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? Like Josie, for example, your man probably truly loved you, truly wanted your attention, truly all that stuff, but he didn't meet the requirements to actually be a husband or be a boyfriend or even be in a relationship. Yet he's gonna be. I know I'm almost 100% he was hurt, but it's like you hurt yourself, bro. You didn't work on yourself before you even got in that relationship to know what it entails. And that's what I'm trying to tell men. Do the right thing first for you, and then the woman comes along and it's gonna be great. If you have a woman and it's not great, 9 times out of 10, it's the man's fault because you're the one that gave it the relationship. That's all I'm saying. I hit
I
you with that
don't
one, didn't I, G?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like you try to use like a Jedi mind trick. I think it was definitely a diss. But I think to speak for women like myself and Miss Josie, I think that it speaks to how long it took us to leave the situation. Chances were given,
Mhm.
chance after chance after chance. Our comfortability was sacrificed over and over, giving that man an opportunity to change and lead better. And if you still haven't, at the end of the day, again, when I finally get up and go, you gonna have to leave me the fuck alone. You let it go as well. Because how many
I
chances am I
agree with
supposed to
that.
give you? Like at what
50,
point? I would say I gave 150.
then
I'm sure Josie
500.
felt like, how many years were you with him, Josie?
12 years. So
12
there were
years.
too many chances.
12 years.
Yeah, it
Then
was a long time.
12,000 chances. Then I don't care what y'all say. All right. If y'all gonna date off potential, then stick through it until the potential ends. Yeah, you heard what I said. If you're gonna date
I
off
don't agree
potential,
with that.
then stick through until the potential end. How dare y'all try to build a house and then give it up before they even put the doors and windows in that mug? That's all I'm saying. Trust the process. No?
That's
Okay. I
No,
was
the
no.
reaching.
worst advice.
Sometimes
I was reaching.
sometimes if like the ground is already rotten, like it doesn't work. You
Mm,
can't build on a
Ooh.
swamp.
mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what?
If the foundations are not there, you cannot build on it.
I don't say this
Like
often,
that.
but I agree with you.
Oh, look, she had to do the skin. Look at you, Josie, coming in getting JR to agree with you. That's a A. Somebody needs to clip that so we can make sure to post it so he never lives it down. I do want to tap into the comments. Andra said, I speak on either side. How to Human Properly said, nah, G, you can't just partake in my toxicity, then leave when you had enough. Get back here and love me, woman. See, and that's why I need to take a break from relationships because stuff like that, I'd be like, okay, let's just, no. No, ladies, be strong. Andra said men also need space. Don't take your ass to his mama house, girl. Oh, that's true. And we can get into that as well. Thank you for bringing that up, Andra. How to Human Properly said at Josie was stigmatized. Well, I think it was probably more than just the sex side of it. Sunshine said, "You know my issues with my husband. After so long, it's hard to leave." I agree. I feel you, girl. TR Sage said, "JR was speaking from the heart on that one." How to Human Properly said, "You stay with me for 12 years. You best believe I'm keeping in contact with your fam. I want to know how you got away. I would have hid you in the basement. 12 years? No, we don't. That's
Wait,
kidnapping.
hit hiding in the basement.
You're not doing that.
Whoa, time
No,
out.
no, no.
Damn.
Kidnapping. Now she doesn't have a choice." Moni, what's good? Moni in the chat, you said women don't date on potential. They are naturally attracted to men who can provide. I disagree.
A lot.
I think majority, especially when you're younger as women, you definitely date off of potential. A lot of us do, if we're being honest.
I was about to say a lot of these women ain't dating a man who's already built. A lot of these women are dating their counterparts at 20 years old, 22 years, 1 years old, 22 years old,
Yeah.
23. They're dating all these men who are still building. So of course that's off potential because he ain't got it yet. You just believe he's gonna have it and he's gonna bring you with him. And some women again, they want it themselves, and that's cool too. It's just then you're gonna date later on or date while you're building, which is probably hard. I think men want attention more than women do. What do you think about that, G? I think men want attention more than women.
I
I
think
don't
so.
know.
I
I
think I
don't
agree
know.
with them.
Josie, you agree with that? Speak to me on
I
why
think
you
that
agree with that.
okay, but maybe that I can only speak from my perspective, but I think it might be because women are more self-sufficient in that regard,
Mm.
and the men need the attention to almost like fulfill something for them, to have the feeling of I'm needed, I can provide, I can be there for
Mm,
her,
mhm, mhm.
versus a woman is self-sufficient. She doesn't need that kind of attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, I agree. I do agree. Men will
That
disagree with me, but I agree, Joseph.
I mean, I think that attention is more accessible to women. I think it doesn't take much for women to get attention. I mean, I could go to the Walmart, is sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on,
That's when you're the
looking
prettiest. I hope that you don't
busted,
take it wrong.
But it's
right?
different. It's
Hey,
from wanting to getting attention.
that's true.
I don't think
That's
we
true.
want the attention in that regard.
And I really think that it's because it's in excess. Because if you approach me when I'm out at Walmart like that, I'm not trying to be approached. And then you're like, "Oh, hey, girl." I'm like, leave me. I just came here for milk. Go away." Like that's the mentality that I have, and I don't think men get approached as much. Um, Men normally have to do the chasing, so I get why y'all might want the attention more than a woman because it's not given to you guys all the time. It's
Exactly.
classic. What is it? You'd rather, I don't know, supply and demand, I guess.
Exactly. Or
Right?
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
them being, you know what I'm saying? It's women. So men think women like attention because they get on Instagram and show, you know what I'm saying, all this stuff up and they show all the. Me personally, I think that's just a status thing. And I think it's a financial thing that they want it for a cause and effect. They do this and they want the effects of this, not necessarily the wanted attention. They just want it to be
Mhm.
able to build brands, to market, to buy, to do stuff. They want it for an end goal. Men just want the attention just to want the attention. And that's why I think men want it more. We want
Mm.
that, and it's strong that we want that. Oh man, men don't hurt me, men. All right, I'm still rocking with us.
Oh
I'm still
gosh,
rocking with us.
How to Human Properly said men need the attention in order for the relationship to last, but women want the attention for sure. TR Sage said, "I agree." Sunshine said, "I was 19, my husband was 27, and before we got married, I felt so loved, but I think I was wanting something I never had before." I can see that. Savage said, "Men love attention. You'll get the world from a man if you give him the right attention." Okay, what is the right attention? Because
Sexual.
sometimes men don't want me to pay it. Sometimes I've been told I'm too observant. I pay too much attention, and you want me to go distract myself. So, what's the right attention, Savage? Ramses said, "Women support women socially in addition to the ease of access to men's attention. Men don't get either as easily or consistently." I agree. Sage said, "I agree, JR. Men to a point want attention, and I feel it is deserved, but not too much." How the human probably said Ramsey, that's facts. Savage said facts. Savage, answer my question, please. What's the right attention? What's the right attention
Sexual.
that y'all would want from a woman? See, it's got to be deeper than that. I'm not convinced that men only want the sexual side of it. Give me something deeper.
We want to be wanted. Has he ever said that, Josie? In any of your past relationships, has the man ever said they wanted to be wanted?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we want to be relevant. We want to not feel like we are exchangeable, or like, because that's how the world looks at us for real. Even a lot of women don't think that way, but society looks at us as we're expandable. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, go fix my water. Man, go fix my car. Man, go fight my war. Man, whatever happens to you happens to you. Damn. But if it's a woman, it's like, god damn, because women are valued in society because they propagate it. So I get it. But at the end of the day, us men, we really want to be wanted. And when we have a woman that says she loves us, that's what we think we're going to get from a woman, is we're going to feel wanted. And when we don't feel wanted, and or the top priority, as much as we pedestalize women, a lot of these men, stupid. Anywho, the way they pedestalize women, I just think it hurts a lot of these men that feel in love that aren't wanted. That's all.
Hmm. Okay. I Savage said sexually, like JR said. How the human properly said at Savage exactly. Once that release happens, we don't keep that same energy. Okay, post nut clarity. I get it. TR Sage said, yes, we want to be wanted just as much as women want to be wanted to that specific person we are dealing with. I mean, I think everybody wants to be wanted. We can agree to that. And I honestly, I say this all the time. I think it goes down to communication and really being honest about your expectations and intentions when you are starting to deal with somebody new. Ramses said, men want that when you are in public, everyone around you knows that you're that man. The attention is energy and how you talk and behave around him. Okay. Savage said, for example, something small such as if you see me going to the gym all the time, tell me I'm getting swole, even if I'm not. LOL. See, now you want us to lie to you, and then you say women are liars.
Well, they are.
Sunshine said, Sunshine said, women want to be loved the same as men. That's true. And I think where it really comes into finding your power and finding your voice is that self love. So I do want to get into that, Josie. How important do you feel like knowing yourself and loving yourself is before you get into a relationship?
So here's the thing. I don't think you need to 100% love yourself before you get into a relationship, because it's a never-ending
Okay.
process. Because we're
Mm,
always growing, or as you said yourself, we're always building ourselves. So we're always ever
yes.
changing. So
Yes.
it will always be an ongoing relationship with falling in love with yourself, with wanting yourself, choosing
Mm,
yourself, because life changes, it throws different curveballs at you, like different situations as well, where you might be challenged in what you believed in before, your values or your goals. And suddenly you are left with ground zero again, and you have to rebuild yourself again and re fall in love with yourself again and again and again. So it's a
mm,
continuous process. So it's it's not possible to reach 100%. And I don't agree actually with people who are saying fully love yourself first before you love someone else. I do
mm,
agree with people saying level to how much you love yourself is how much you can love others. That is true, I do believe,
mm,
because otherwise you don't even know like what that love really is. Like, you don't know, you can't love more someone else than you love yourself. Like, it needs to be even, but it doesn't need to be 100%. And you can still be like healing from maybe a past relationship and get into a new
mm,
one, whilst having this foundation that is not rotten. And you have this foundation of communication and trust and all of those things to build and grow together, because you're doing that anyway. And if you have the right partner, then that is possible. But self-love is also not just like hugging yourself and telling yourself in the mirror like, I'm great, I love myself. It is about setting boundaries. It is about speaking up for yourself. It
mm,
really is knowing that whatever you're going through, you're still worthy of living. Like your worth doesn't diminish. What the reason why you're here doesn't diminish if like things go wrong or if someone says something mean about you, whatever. Self-love
Hmm.
is just inner knowing and trust, really, that you're a good human being. Like there's nothing really wrong with you. If you want to
Mm,
change something, change it, and you can. You absolutely can. But you don't have to be like 100% there yet, because you never
yeah.
will.
Hmm. I like that. JR,
I
you
don't
look
know.
like you're thinking hard.
It's because I like what she said. It all comes together. It's just I'm getting a different opinion of it though, right? Because everything she said,
Mhm.
I think is fairly accurate. It's just
Mhm.
I do believe you have to love yourself to be in a healthy relationship. I do, and the reason why I think that is because of what you also said, which is you're setting those boundaries, and those boundaries are what like healthy relationship is really gonna like thrive off of. Is that respect? You know, how am I supposed to respect you if you don't respect yourself, right? So if you love yourself, right, and I do believe you can love yourself and you can love your process that you're going to go through. I believe you can love that progression, however you see fit, because you're doing it from a sense of love, not a sense of my somebody told me to do it or whatever it is, or it's evil or malice or whatever. No, you're doing it because you love yourself. You think this is going to put you in the right mindset, stressless, and it's going to make you very comfortable. So I think that all comes together with those boundaries that allow somebody else to respect you too in a relationship. So I think you should or it can happen that way, and I think it should happen that way. And I always tell women this, which is like have those boundaries, set those boundaries, and that right there will allow you to find a good man, because you're going to weed out all the other men that don't really respect you because you have those boundaries. So I agree and disagree at the same time, but I mostly agree with everything you said.
I love it. Okay. Josie's like what, 4 for 4? Is she batting 4 for 4 right now?
Okay, this is why we don't
Ooh.
do math on Life
Hey.
with G podcast.
There's a and why do I keep doing math on fractions and I gotta stop doing it to myself. I do want to type in. We got a couple questions, couple good questions in the comment section. How to Human properly said, "Do combative women love themselves?" Obviously, this is opinionated. We cannot answer this as a fact, but I think
No, they don't.
why not? Why do you say that?
Combative as in argumentative, physical assault, if not meant like emotional, like verbal assault.
Aren't
Combative women, you can't
is being
control the opposite.
combative is me having an attitude and responding a certain way synonymous with me not loving myself though?
For
Maybe I
sure,
love myself, but you pissing me off, and right now I don't love you,
there's
and
two
that's why you
parties.
getting the smoke.
There's two parties anytime a woman has to be combative in that form. It has to be you and somebody else, and because you don't understand that person completely, nor do you control that person completely, you have no idea how their reaction might be. Their reaction might be to take your life, God heavens forbid. Their reaction might be to who knows what, and that right there is unsafe. So for you to put yourself in an unsafe situation, you cannot love yourself that way, to my in
But
my
that's a
from my
maturity
opinion.
thing. That could be a maturity thing though.
Explain, please.
Like, well, now you asked me to elaborate on it, and I don't have much to elaborate with. But it's a feel like for me personally, I can recognize it as like I love myself. I still have moments where I revert back to OG, but I am delivered. It's Sunday, thank you Jesus. So I have moments of recognition. But that doesn't mean that my combativeness is gonna just be completely xed out. Sometimes I get triggered. I will react a certain way and it just is what it is, and that is for me a maturity and a growth thing, not so much I don't love myself. I'm setting a boundary because I love myself. I'm just not communicating it in the most mature way.
That can cost you your life. That's all I'm saying.
I understand,
Yeah,
and we're working on it,
I wouldn't put
but
myself at risk. That's all I'm
I
saying.
well I, if you're in a relationship and me cussing you out is going to put my life in potential jeopardy, then I definitely don't need to be with you. I don't think that I should be in fear of a physical reaction off of me just speaking what I'm speaking.
But a lot of people don't get a second chance. And that's why, well, okay, actually, a lot of people do, but there are a few people that don't get that second chance to sit there and say, you know what, I don't need to be here. They don't get that chance to walk away. And that's what I'm trying to say. If you love yourself and you set those boundaries for real, there's not a time where you're going to be in that predicament to be combative. You shouldn't even be that way.
I don't know because then that feels like we're getting into like the domestic violence
Yeah,
sort of
we're getting in a
lane,
different
and
territory.
yeah, that's a little bit different. And I have always been like, listen, your feelings are valid, but acting out physically, no matter what your girl says or whatever your man says, putting hands on somebody or me feeling like my life is at risk because we're not agreeing right now, I shouldn't even have to have that fear. Me personally, that's what I think.
I believe that. You shouldn't. That doesn't mean it's not there. That's what I'm saying. Very few, and I do agree with you, but that possibility is there, and that's why I say if it's combative, that just makes the risk even higher. It's already a possibility in general, but to be combative makes the risk even higher, though. And I say that just off of watching that movie with the dude who had the woman had the road rage, and he was like, "Woman, I'm not having a good day. Just apologize." And she was like, "Forget you." And then he ended up chasing her, trying to murder her. I'm just saying she ain't know what he
Yeah,
was
no, that's
dealing
a
with. None of that stuff,
no,
and she went through a whole movie
no.
about it. That's all I'm saying. I don't like it. I don't like it. Combative. Don't be combative. Be strong. Be independent. Do all that stuff. But you don't have to be combative. I don't like it.
I'm curious for y'all to give an example of a woman who's combative just to be combative. Because I don't I would like to know in your mind, how did we get here? Is she just extremely disrespectful and you're viewing that as combative? Or is there really just a breakdown in communication and she's crashing out because there's so many emotions? Because that matters.
Well, I think it's really just a self love. Since we're talking about self love, a lot of women say they love themselves. A lot of women do, right? And he's probably asking the question because he hears a lot of women say it. If you ask, actually, 9 times out of 10, if you ask a woman, do they love themselves, they're probably going to say yes, even if they don't or they don't know. But they're probably going to say yes. And his mindset is, how do you love yourself if you're combative? That's kind of his thought process is, I'm trying to prove to you you don't really love yourself if you're combative. That's what he's trying to say to the women that always say that kind of stuff. Not the women who actually put in the work to actually love themselves. Not the women who really put in the work to know themselves.
The
Are
thing
you
though is, like
oh sorry, go
a
ahead, Joe.
woman isn't just naturally combative. They're not just naturally like, oh, like bringing out all the insults and being like mean to the other person. Like it takes something to happen before that to bring them to that level where they then leash out because there's no other way for them to express themselves anymore, and they feel lost in those emotions and obviously in this negative cycle. But then there is also a responsibility of the other counterpart to be able to recognize that as emotions, not them being themselves, and not just being like, oh, because you now leashed out at me, I can hit you or whatever. It's not a permission slip for the other part to be like, well, now you're gonna. Like, that's not how it
Mhm,
works. It's still
mhm,
also in it plays into the maturity of the other person to recognize that as, well, this is not great. She's
mhm.
definitely in a tricky state right now. What is in my locus of control? That is to focus on my own emotions, my reactions, my actions, and to not let this escalate any further. This
Yeah.
is where each person has this 50% responsibility to not let it happen, anything worse happens. So it is not just in the responsibility of the victim per se to not leash out, because then that's the same argument as saying women shouldn't wear nice clothing, because then any predatory men who want to rape them or whatever could do that,
Mhm, mhm.
you
No, I
know?
And I
agree.
And I do just food for thought, fellas. If we can have a moment of self awareness for the fellas, the fact that y'all, let me take y'all back. Hold on, because I know that's a trigger for you, for men. The fact that there are men, educated, mature, great men who are in the comments who are basically giving a warning to women of, hey, be careful how you talk to a man because the consequences could be deadly that y'all need to take a moment of self-awareness of why you even feel comfortable saying that it's that common that a woman has to have that in the back of her mind of being afraid of her partner. I should not be afraid of my partner. I shouldn't look at it. How to human properly, you mentioned it's like if you go into a lion's den. If I'm in a relationship with you, you're my man, you're my provider, you're my security. That includes securing me and keeping me safe from yourself. And I just want you to really think about that. And I'm not saying women don't hold themselves accountable. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying the fact that you guys even have that rhetoric, that speaks volumes to the state of our communication breakdown in relationships these days. Just saying.
Well, you have to you're absolutely right, but this is the stuff. This is not about men versus women. This is just
Right.
understanding men to another degree, which is we as men understand when we talk to
Absolutely.
another man. This is nuclear warfare right now. Like at any moment, we can both go about. When men approach a new man we don't know, we come with respect off rip. Off rip, we come with respect because we know either we're gonna have to beat his ass or he's gonna have to beat our ass. Like no matter
Mhm.
what's gonna happen. Like we already, if you ask men, do you size men up every time you see a new man? Yes. When you walk into a room as a man, you be like, I can whoop his ass, his ass, his ass. Him, it might be a little time. I might have to take. I'm dead ass serious. Every man thinks of it.
Oh
When you meet a new man,
God.
you have to really size him up on, and it's not on like on purpose. Purpose. It's just if I have to whoop his ass, can I actually do it right now? Do I feel comfortable? Do my hands hurt? Do my shoulder hurt? Am I injured? Like you be thinking about, all right, let me kind of loosen up a little bit just in case I have to whoop his ass. It's warfare. This is what we deal with whenever we meet a new guy, any guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to whoop his ass. So for women, y'all really don't look at it that way. Y'all think, you know what I'm saying, differently. You just they're people and they're humans. And what we're trying to say is, look, even if they're people or humans, emotional man is a dangerous man. Is what I'm pretty much trying to say.
I'll agree.
An emotional man is
I'll
a
agree.
dangerous man. I wish it
I
wasn't, but
agree.
it is. I don't trust
And
niggas. I
I
mean, men.
agree. I agree with that. And I think my caveat to that, in at least in my experience, ladies, be careful if you are dating a man who is not happy with the status of his life, because even if he doesn't admit it, that will make him emotional. And if that man feels unfulfilled, there's a lot of things that you can do as a woman, especially if you are independent, that will trigger that. So be careful in those types of situations as well. I hate that we have to give that disclaimer, but humans are unpredictable. But I think that's why we need to do better on setting boundaries, respecting each other, respecting ourselves. So this conversation, I think, really helps dive into that conversation. So
Big
I'm happy
facts.
with that. I do want to get into the comments once again. Y'all are very lively today. I love it. Ramses said, Josie, you must not know many Latinas. Don't do that. They're combative just because they're bored. Ramses, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't agree with that. How the Human Properly said, I got time today because I like this Sunday show thing. Keep them coming. Okay. I'm really glad that y'all are showing out for Miss Josie here, making her feel welcomed. How the Human Properly said, that's a good way to protect our women education. I agree. I agree with that 100%. Sunshine said facts. G, how the Human Properly said, that doesn't mean act like you won't get hemmed up though. But why are we God. How to Human Properly said facts, JR got to take feelings out of it and really think first. TR Sage said a very emotional man is a dangerous man and has to be taken out at the first red alert situation. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, taking out doesn't mean like we gotta like terminate him. We just saying like
Right.
that should be a red flag for women that a lot of women don't really see because a lot of women think, oh, a man who's emotional, like they confuse it with emotional intelligence sometimes. And it's like, no, 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 woman. Like, understand emotional intelligence is really empathy and sympathy type of deal. Really trying to understand where you're
Mm.
coming from as a person and putting themselves in your shoes and then understanding it. Not them just being able to express their emotions to you. That right there is a red flag. If a man's expressing their emotions to you and it's not in a productive way, you gotta see that as, all right, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me really evaluate and see how this man works. Because again, men not perfect, women not perfect. In those situations, he's having a bad day, like you don't want to be around in cases. You want to make sure, how do you cope with it? How can I help you cope with it? All these other things must come into play. So you got to figure out how to deal with that kind of stuff. Only because I really want to keep women safe, and a lot of women aren't safe because they miss these big red flags. I really do believe.
Mm. Hmm. I do want to get into the other question that was asked in the chat earlier. Sunshine said, "What do you do when someone takes your choice away from you?" Sunshine, elaborate on that. Um, I, Jr., do you want to answer that first? What someone should do if they feel like their choice was taken away from them? I'm assuming she means like kind of like a bait and switch situation. You promised me this, and now you got me. Now we're in a committed relationship, and you flip the script. Sunshine, let me know if I'm wrong on that. But Jr., what's your opinion? What's your advice for men or women that feel like they're in that situation?
Okay, so Josie, I want you to make sure, because I really want your reaction to what I'm about to say, right?
Okay, I'm
Oh
listening.
God.
I truly don't believe in holding women hostage. That's what I call it when it comes to taking their choice away. When you're lying to women, you know what I'm saying? I don't like it. Now, there's a difference between just like lying and you're playing and joking and chilling and just, like getting to know people. But when you're literally lying to the woman, I think that's taking their choice away, And I think that right there in that situation, as a woman, you have to take your L, right? You have to take that L. You was lied to. They took that choice away. You didn't know, and you have to take that L, and then you have to get rid of him, and you have to go on about your business and still have an open heart. That's what I believe. What do you think, Josie?
Fair. It's fair. I mean, yeah, I mean, the lying part obviously is not great, but I don't think anyone, no, neither men nor women would ever not lie in their whole life. I don't think that's a thing. It depends on the gravity of the lies. If it's obviously something very substantial or, well, life changing, then it's a different
Oh,
different kind of thing.
Mm,
So, but in the end, it's your choice is never being taken away, really. Like you always have a choice. Like you literally always have a choice. It's not just, oh, there's just one way out. No, you can create a way. There will be another way if you don't want this one way. So it's not like you never are a choice. There always is one, but you got to make it. And some of them might be very scary and you don't want to see them at the moment. I'm not speaking from any perspective right now or any specific situation,
mm,
just in general about the matter of choice is that you do have one.
okay. I agree. I
I
do.
like that.
I mean, it's tough.
Um, yeah, I mean, my response to that really is just something that I'm still working on for myself, and that is you cannot control the other person. I can't control what you do. They're human. They're gonna disappoint me. They're gonna fuck up. I'm also going to disappoint myself and fuck up or disappoint them. That being the case, because I can't control them, all I can do is control the way that I react to it, which is that accountability that we talked about Thursday of just and I think Maya said it. In fact, it gets to a point where if they're not moving in the way that you need them to move as a partner, you switch that mindset from trying to hold them accountable and you hold yourself accountable of what you're allowing um, to be surrounded by. And that's obviously a lot more difficult to put into practice than it is for us to say. But I think that's something that we all really need to work harder on, and that's keeping those boundaries a lot more firm
If you
for
don't
that
change
reason.
it, then you accept it.
We
That's
teach
true.
That
people the
is
way
true.
that we want to be treated.
Yeah.
Even if we say, treat me better, we're not leaving. So what are they learning? Nothing. They're learning that you don't care enough about it to actually remove yourself from their life. And if people see that you're willing to stay with that, then they have no motivation to change.
I just think
Um,
that's weird though. I don't like the whole comment of like treat people the way you want to be treated, because some people are going to treat you the way they want to be treated. And what if y'all are both treating each other differently, but y'all want to be treated differently? What if I'm not talking to you? I don't want to deal with you. That's how I'm treating you, but you want to deal
Yeah.
with me. You want to talk to me, and that's how you're treating me. And you want me to treat you that way because that's how you're treating me. But I want you to also leave me alone the way I'm treating you. So it's like it's one of those times. It's like you got to treat people the way they want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna show you how they want to be treated. If they're gonna respect you, then you treat them with respect. If they not, then you treat them with disregard. In that sense, what do you think?
Yes and no. Like, we don't want anyone to get into people pleasing. We don't want anyone to be
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
okay, I
Hmm.
treat you this way because you want to be treated that way. But if it steps over your own boundaries, then you shouldn't be treating them that way, because how you treat your boundaries is how you teach others to treat you.
Oh, she got the buzzer! Yay!
That was
Yay!
fire. That was straight fire.
I like that. I
Oh,
like that a lot.
oh my
That's
God, that's
hard.
some real love for you. Oh my God, that was fire.
That was good.
It's
That was
true though.
good.
It's
Yes,
Josie,
true.
Josie
it
hit y'all with that
definitely
one.
is true. I do, JR, I think we have someone calling in on the Discord. You guys, I just want to give a heads up with our guests and with our time limits and all that stuff. When you guys do call into the Discord to ask a question, we do have a 1 minute time limit on, well, I think it's like a 30-second time limit on the question itself. And then it's kind of like a one and done just to give space for comments and to continue the conversation if there's other call ins that are wanted. So we ask the question and then we get the answer and then we keep it pushing for the next person that wants to join the call in feature. So if Miss Sunshine is still in there, do we want to let her in to ask her question? Hi, Sunshine. Oh, well, I can't hear JR.
I can't hear anything either.
Can't hear JR. Can't hear Sunshine.
No, you can't hear me. My mic was muted.
Oh,
That's yeah, no,
oh,
that's yeah. I'll
oh,
be
okay.
drinking and sipping and burping
Hi,
I've been
G.
and
drinking.
stuff.
I've
Oh,
been drinking. Hi, Sunshine.
Hi, G.
Happy Sunday, my love. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm calling in not to ask the question again. I'm
Okay.
here to clarify
Mm-hmm.
because you asked me to clarify.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
If JR would be quiet.
Go ahead, Sunshine. Okay, clarify for us. Oh man, that was funny.
Sunshine, don't do me like that. All right.
So so I the reason why I asked that question is because my situation when I first got married. Um, I didn't find out until a few months into our marriage that my husband had been cheating,
Hmm.
and he brought a baby into the world.
Hmm.
And then had a second baby with the same girl. And I feel like had he told me beforehand that he had another child, I would have made a different decision.
Hmm.
But I think it was How to Human properly said that that's a victim mentality. It's not that I'm a victim because I did choose to stay. However, I stayed because childhood trauma made me feel like I wasn't ever going to be loved enough by somebody. So if this is what I get, this is just what I get.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense on the if they like, what I'm saying, if you don't have a choice type of situation. I get that a lot. So but in that case, I still think that it's still a lie, right? And I think men shouldn't be lying to women. I think
Hmm.
definitely somebody you call your partner, you just shouldn't be lying. You should tell them the truth, and however they deal with it is it should be up to them. You cannot control another human being. I don't think you should, and Yeah, that's just one of
Yeah.
those situations that I say a lot of women don't know what happens until, the curtain comes down, they see the real man for who they is, or even opposite too. Like even for a man with a woman, they see the woman for who she is, and at the end of the day, you just can't hold these people hostage. You just got to be honest and truthful with them, and they deserve that at least because you're their
Yeah.
partner and y'all love each other. Uh,
Hmm.
so I agree.
Yeah.
You're you're very
Say it, sunshine. Say it. I'm very what?
No, I think our audio cut out. Sunshine, you still with us?
yeah, I'm still here. I'm
Okay.
listening to JR.
Oh, okay. There is a little bit of a lag. Did you have
Yeah.
any follow-up question or follow-up comment to that, Sunshine, before we let you go?
Yeah. Oh my God, JR is just a mess. But uh, yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Well, I think there's a lag. So that's
There
the
is.
if yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man. Oh,
Yeah. So I'm going through therapy and all that stuff, like, because of childhood trauma and stuff. Um, but going through therapy, it made me change. Like I'm changing and my husband is not, and I think that like even when I try to talk to him about it, he's like, no, I'm still the same person. But you can't be after 20 something years. So when like how would you get someone who is dead set against like talking to a therapist or something? Like how would you get them to change their mind?
Mm, that is
You
a
cannot get
great
another person to change their mind.
mm,
Here it comes back, as we talked before, to what is in your locus of control. And him changing his mind, him going to therapy, unfortunately, isn't in your locus of control. So it's really up for you, the question to focus on yourself, whatever that
mm,
means for you.
mhm.
damn, I agree. I do
That's
agree.
true.
Sunshine, thank you so much for coming in and helping add to the conversation and clarifying your previous question. We appreciate you. You guys don't be afraid to call in like Miss Sunshine did. She makes it look easy, y'all, and it is. So y'all can call in, ask questions, get a moment to get your voice here on live with us with Life with G podcast. Again, if you guys haven't already, this is a really great episode. So make sure you share the episode, like the episode, and if you haven't already joined the family and you're new here, hi, how are you? Make sure you subscribe. All right. I really like Sunshine's question. It's an unfortunate situation. But yeah, Josie, I think you answered that perfectly. Everyone in the comments mentioned it as well. And unfortunately, I think that is the biggest struggle, especially when you love someone and you want the relationship to work. You want them to want to adjust just as much as you do, but you can't force that. So sometimes you just really got to focus on yourself, even if that means you're in a marriage, which is a difficult pill to swallow for sure.
Big facts. Honestly.
Yeah.
Damn.
True that.
Is there anybody else who wants to call in on the Discord before we start to give our final thoughts? Any other questions y'all want to drop in the chat below? Josie, we really appreciate you coming in. Your insight has been amazing. Do you have any tips or tricks for our audience that could help them really promote finding their voice and feeling confident to speak up for themselves?
So I know everybody might hate me then for this, but I don't care. The thing is, if you
Yeah.
want to get better at something, you got to do the thing that you don't want to do. If you want to get more confident, you got to do something that makes you feel not confident, that scares
Mm,
you, that has you face uncertainty. So if you want to get better at speaking up for yourself, you got to do exactly that. You got to speak up for yourself. But that doesn't mean do now like those big life changing decisions and immediately maybe leave a marriage or leave a job or whatever you might think might be the end goal to this, but practice small. Maybe it is just saying no more often. Maybe it is just saying no to a meeting every day
Mm,
because you want some more time for yourself. Or maybe it is you setting up a boundary to a family member who's invading into your private time too much. And you're like, no, this day I don't want you to come over anymore. I need this time for myself. Like, try to
mm,
find something very, very small where you can practice speaking up and standing up for yourself. Just that tiny, tiny little bit. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day where you're like, these 5 minutes just belong to me and whatever I want to do. And I feed back into myself. That is already standing up for yourself. So
mhm,
start small and then grow that and work towards maybe that bigger thing that you want to change in your life if you don't feel ready yet. If you are a person who can just rip off the plaster and be like, I've done that, it's gone, like it's over, then great, do that too. But you don't have to. Like, start small.
mhm. I love that. I love
Damn.
that. How to Human Properly said, I like Josie. She should come back. Yes, Josie is definitely welcome to come back for sure. And I love that, despite the distance, the fact that you're all the way in London and we're here in Florida. No one knows where JR lives. He's kind of like a ghost. But wherever he is located, I like that we're able to come together and despite maybe living different experiences, different cultures, we seem to agree on this thing, and that is the importance of self love and speaking up for yourself. So we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us and sharing your advice. I can tell that you're really good at your job. So I do,
Thank
I do
you.
want to thank you for sharing your voice, for sure. You guys, it's already that time. All right, it's that time of the episode where we go into final thoughts. Be sure to stay tuned till the end of final thoughts. All right, Jr. What do you got to say for the people as your closeout?
It's high noon.
Look here, people. Y'all not gonna hear me say this a lot, but she's absolutely right. Be comfortable being uncomfortable, people. Go out there and work on yourselves. Love yourself. Love your process. Don't just do it for you only. Do it for what you're gonna bring to the world. Happiness is contagious. Spread that. Spread it. I haven't said that in a long time since my abstinence. Anywho, hey, look.
Oh my
Much
God.
love on a Sunday. You already know what time it is. And please don't send nudes. Please don't send nudes. All right, G.
Please, please help him with his abstinence disorder. Oh my gosh, he just had to do it on a Sunday. Miss Josie, what are your final thoughts for our audience today?
I'm just really appreciative of like the comments you brought in. I'm like, wow, this was a
Mhm.
deep discussion. I did not expect that,
Yeah,
but I loved
yeah.
it. It literally it kicked off some big thoughts and thought processes for me as well. So thank you for that. And one thing that I always want to stand for and that I always want to help my clients also with is to embrace living your life your way, that the way that makes
Mhm.
you happy. Like, you only have this one life, so live it the best way you can, be of service, do what makes you happy. Don't neglect your own needs just to please others if it's detrimental to your happiness. Um, and just to reiterate what I said before, like, you always are a choice. Even if you think you just signed your life away or you're stuck, you can still now stand up, make a decision to change and go
Mhm.
from there. And it doesn't need to be big steps immediately. It can be one small step at a time, or said ripping off the plaster, but you can make it happen. You can make anything happen.
Yeah.
That's my final thoughts.
I love that. Y'all, Josie has been amazing, and I appreciate all of y'all stepping out of your comfort zone and showing up to a Sunday live. We really appreciate the support. My final thoughts, you guys already know. I'm all about self love, finding your self worth, knowing yourself, being confident in yourself, And if anybody tells you that you can't set boundaries, yes, the fuck you can, and yes, the fuck you should. If y'all are interested in how to bust a hoe, we are going to have the podcast host for Hoe Busters Podcast. You heard that right. Hoe Busters Podcast. I love her, Miss Dari Michelle. She's going to be joining us Tuesday night for a very fun and informative live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. You already know what time it is. Besos, blessings. Y'all have a good day.